if any, would come in months or years, if it came at all. They were wrong. The silence before the storm. Far across the void, Earth received the distress signals. The transmissions ended abruptly as the colony was overwhelmed, but what remained was enough. Burning homes, desperate cries, and the final act of defiance from Governor Elias before his execution. For 48 hours, Earth said nothing. The United Terran Command fell into an eerie quiet. No declarations were issued, no protests sent. The galactic network saw only stillness from humanity. The Kroth mistook this for hesitation. The galaxy mistook this for fear. But in truth, it was the silence of a predator lowering its body before the strike. Beneath the oceans of Titan's shipyards, Leviathan dreadnoughts stirred, their hulls gleaming with armor designed not just for survival, but for vengeance. Fleets mobilized from hidden docks across Mars, Luna, and Europa. Strike groups that had lain dormant for decades received encrypted orders. The Terran fleet moved not with chaos but with precision. No leaks, no bluster, no warning. And when the silence broke, it was not with words, but with the thunder of engines igniting across the stars. Retaliation unleashed. The Kroth fleet was still celebrating when reality shattered around them. Without warning, the void outside their flagship bloomed with light. Dozens of human warships tore from slipspace, their arrival silent but apocalyptic. Dreadnoughts larger than cities, cruisers with hulls bristling with weapons, carriers vomiting forth wings of interceptors. They did not hail, they did not threaten, they simply attacked. The first salvo from the Terran fleet was surgical. The lead Kroth destroyers vanished in lances of plasma, so bright they burned afterimages into the eyes of those who witnessed them. A frigate, still broadcasting victory songs, was split in half before its crew even realized battle had begun. Panic erupted on the Kroth bridge. Impossible. Humans cannot mobilize so quickly. They cannot be here. But humanity was not bound by the limits the Kroth imagined. Earth had prepared for war long before Urith III burned, quietly watching the stars and building weapons no one had ever seen deployed. And now they were unleashed. The Terran dreadnought Nemesis Ascendant cut through the Kroth flagship's escorts like a scythe through grass. Its rail cannons launched projectiles at near-relativistic speeds, turning capital ships into debris fields in a single strike. Kroth fighters swarmed to defend their commander, only to be shredded by clouds of autonomous drones launched from Terran carriers, machines that hunted with relentless precision, each strike a death sentence. In less than 15 minutes, the Kroth fleet was in ruins. Their cries for reinforcements were intercepted, their comms jammed by human codebreakers. The Retaliation had arrived before their message home could even whisper of victory. The wrath of humanity. But Earth was not finished. Retaliation was not merely battle, it was annihilation. From orbit, human warships turned their gaze upon Kroth supply stations, shipyards, and outposts along the frontier. Within days, entire chains of their infrastructure were reduced to silent husks. On Kroth-held worlds, orbital strikes rained down upon military installations, their skies alight with the fire of precision bombardments. Yet, unlike the Kroth, humanity did not slaughter civilians without thought. Their wrath was not wild, it was deliberate, targeted, and absolute. Kroth warriors who mocked human fragility were dragged from bunkers by armored Terran soldiers, silent, unyielding giants clad in powered exosuits that made them gods of war. The invincible conquerors of Urith III now knelt in chains, their arrogance turned to trembling fear. Across the galaxy, species watched in awe and dread. They saw fleets blotting out suns, saw colonies reduced to dust, saw the Dominion's proud fleets scatter like frightened insects. The message was clear. Humanity's patience was vast, but their vengeance, swift, cold, infinite, was beyond anything the galaxy had ever known. Ashes and silence. When the last Kroth flagship fell, silence returned to the stars. Not the silence of arrogance, but the silence of fear. The Kroth survivors, broken and leaderless, whispered of the humans in tones once reserved for gods of destruction. They spoke of how their message of triumph never reached home, for Earth's retaliation had already erased it. In the Dominion's Great Council, panic spread. The galaxy's empires, once dismissive of Earth, now reconsidered every treaty, every alliance, every word spoken to humans. They remembered Urith III, but more importantly, they remembered what followed. Entire fleets annihilated before their boast could echo across the void. In shadowed corridors, whispers became law. Never provoke Earth again. Epilogue: the infinite patience, the infinite vengeance. Humanity returned to silence once more. Their fleets withdrew, their banners lowered. They did not boast of their victory. They did not demand worship or tribute. They simply waited. The galaxy, however, never forgot. For in every council meeting, in every hushed conversation among alien rulers, the name of Earth carried weight heavier than any empire. The lesson was eternal. Humanity's patience is long. They will endure mockery, bear insult, and even tolerate cruelty. But strike their children, burn their homes, execute their leaders, and retaliation will arrive before your arrogance can even reach your own world. The Kroth Dominion never recovered, but the galaxy remembered, always. And in that remembrance, a truth carved itself into the bones of history. Humanity's vengeance is infinite. The stars above Vera IX were calm when the Zeroth Dominion descended. A human colony no more than 20 years old rested across its valleys, farms, schools, children playing under twin suns. They had no warships, no planetary defense grid, only a small orbital relay and a handful of transport freighters. To the Dominion, they were soft prey, an example to make. The attack was swift. Zeroth cruisers dropped from warp with contempt, their hulls glimmering like shards of obsidian. Plasma lances ignited the sky, and before any distress beacon could be sent, the colony's orbital hub shattered into molten debris. On the ground, the colonists fled, but the Dominion soldiers landed with fire in their eyes and cruelty in their hands. They marched through settlements with heavy boots, torching homes, rounding survivors into the square. A Dominion warlord, Commander Urek, raised his clawed hand and barked to his troops. Show them how powerless their Earth truly is. Burn their seed so it may never grow. Children cried, families screamed, entire districts turned to ash in less than an hour. The humans never stood a chance. By nightfall, the colony was gone. Its fields smoked, its rivers boiled with wreckage. Only silence remained silence, and the Dominion's laughter echoing across the ruins. Boasts of the victors. The warlord ordered a message recorded. This, Urek growled to the recorder, gesturing to the burning cityscape behind him, is what becomes of those who spread without permission. The Dominion tolerates no pests in its domain. Humanity will learn humility. He sneered. If they beg, perhaps we will allow their kind to survive as servants. The soldiers cheered. A battered human freighter had been captured intact, its surviving crew forced to kneel at gunpoint. The Dominion filmed their execution, a final insult, human blood staining Dominion blades for the galaxy to see. The recording was meant for home, a trophy to show their lords, a warning to all species who might dream of resistance. But the transmission was slow. The ship's relays were already damaged from the raid. The Great Dominion flagship prepared to send the footage through subspace, but it would take time, hours, perhaps a day. And the warlord smiled, believing he had all the time in the galaxy. The calm before the storm. The Dominion fleet celebrated. In their mess halls, they drank and roared songs of conquest. In the officers' chambers, they mocked humanity, calling them soft-worlders, idealists who hid behind treaties and endless diplomacy. Earth, one officer laughed, will whimper like the rest. Their Senate will condemn us in words, nothing more. By the time they answer, we'll already be gone, another said. They raised their cups, drunk on certainty, blind to the shifting silence between the stars. For while they feasted, humanity was already moving. The first shadows. The Dominion fleet never saw the probes. Slivers of black, hidden by Earth's most advanced cloaking, slid into the system within minutes of the colony's last heartbeat. They carried no weapons, only eyes. They mapped the positions of every Dominion cruiser, every orbital path, every heat signature. And they sent the data back. Not to Earth's Senate, not to diplomats, but to the Vanguard. A silent division of humanity's war machine, long dormant, waiting in the void for a day like this.